Welcome back, YouTube. This is your friendly neighborhood audio engineer, Robin, and we've got another little basic Pro Tools tutorial for you today. Yesterday I uploaded a video just talking about basically inserts, and today I want to move over to sends, which we see here. Sends are slightly different from inserts, as you might remember from last video, and if you haven't watched it and you're wondering about inserts, you can pop on back to that. But inserts, you basically insert a a device, or basically you extract the signal from the signal chain, send it through something else, and then send it back in at the same point to then continue down through the signal chain. Sends are slightly different. Sends actually make a copy of the signal. So you can just click, and then you can send it to, for example here, we can send it to an output. If we have, for example, a reverb unit sitting outside of Pro Tools, you can send it to a bus, which I will get back to a little later. And in Pro Tools 9 you have the choice to send it to a track or actually create a new track for that send. So I'm going to send this now to auxiliary 1. Now auxiliary 1, we can see that is going from bus 1 and 2. So this is now being sent to bus 1 and 2. As you can see, when you open a send, you get this little box with all your options for the send. You can turn automation on and off for the send, which again, I'll get back to automation a little later. You can choose whether you want the send to be safe, which means that automation, I believe, doesn't, automation safe means that if you have everything in write mode, for example, it won't actually write that, and also you can't sort of do mess up anything with your automation. You can set it to pre or post fader. This is very important, especially, and you see this distinction mostly for when you're setting up headphone mixes and stuff like that. With headphone mixes, you want it to be pre-fader, so you can set a mix, how much you're sending to your headphone output, while you can still do whatever jazz that you want to do here without that affecting the levels. What you mostly for mixing will be using sends for is sending to effects units. Say you have a 24-channel mix. Right here I'm simulating a 5-channel mix. But imagine you want a nice little room reverb on everything. So instead of putting a room reverb in your inserts, instead of putting, say for example, an Oxford reverb on every single one of your channels, you can set up one Oxford reverb, as I have done here in auxiliary 1, set the settings to your liking, and then make sure you've got, here we go, 100% wet. I think this has already been selected, so that's 100% wet, which again I'll get back to when we do our little reverb video. But then you can just choose the amount of the signal you want to be sending. And this will normally be post fader, meaning you're sending, let's say we're sending 29 dB from, for example, a snare to a room reverb, and then depending on the level of the snare, this will also change because this is extracting the signal after this fader, hence the post. FMP, yes. Wow, that's a very weird acronym there. This basically disables your pan, which means that the pan is being controlled by this here. As you can see in the grayed out pan there, it is being controlled. This can be good if you want, if you have a reverb as here, for example, with a stereo input, and you want to put, for example, a room reverb on all your drums. You can preserve the panning information and the positioning of your drums in the stereo mix into the reverb as well, which will bolster that feeling, that sense of them being in a space. Of course, you can change where the send is, what send you're looking at, and all that jazz. This can also be very good for parallel compression. If we set up another send to auxiliary 2, we can create a mix. Now we can create a mix. If it's post fader, you can always just Alt click to bring it up to unity gain, meaning it will be sending exactly what this fader is sending. So you can preserve your mix. If you do like this as well, you're preserving the panning information of the material you're working with. So then you can, for example, send all your copy your drum mix into, for example, a compressor, and then you can mix this new signal with just the compressed drums in with the rest of your drums to get a very nice, pleasing compression of the drums. Compression and parallel compression is also something I'm going to come back with, but that's basically how sends work. You extract the signal and make a copy of it at a certain predetermined point in the signal chain. I believe in Pro Tools you have the choice of pre or post fader, but I think it's all post inserts. I'm not sure. I think pre-fader might be pre-insert, but I'll have to look that up. So I hope that helps you out, and I'll be coming back with some basic videos on EQs, gates, compressors, etc., etc., just focusing down and looking at these. So if you have any questions, if there's anything you want to know about, anything you want me to make a video about, just give me a bell, and hope to see you soon.